Now, I've been trying to read the tea leaves. It's coffee in here, actually. And I've been staring at my crystal balls. And I'm going to give you my predictions for Rolex's 2022 new model releases. And if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to tell you which model from the current range I think is finally going to be axed. Now, to tell you the truth, guys, Rolex news doesn't get me all that excited. Not a big Rolex fanboy. I've got a lot of respect, though, for the brand. But no one can deny the pedigree behind the brand, the quality and the craftsmanship that goes into each and every one of its models. I've only got one in the collection. It's the one I'm wearing here today, the 1146060, the no-date Submariner. But I could see myself adding an Explorer 2 into the collection at some point. Definitely the white dial, the polar dial. But while the Submariner and the Explorer 2 are at the lower end of the Rolex price range, for me they're right at the top of my typical budget, even at Rolex retail prices. And let's face it, a Rolex at retail prices is basically a unicorn. It doesn't exist, unless you've got a great relationship with your AD and a strong Rolex purchase history, which is something that I feel kind of uncomfortable with. But because I know it's a hot topic for some of you guys, I wanted to tell you my thoughts on what new model releases we might see from Rolex in 2022. It's quite good fun to speculate and see whether any of these come true. So let's get on with it. So my first prediction is that we might not actually see all that much from Rolex in terms of new models in 2022, particularly given the fact that they released 16 new models in 2021. Remember also that Rolex released a rare statement towards the end of 2021, finally acknowledging the scarcity of their watches, and putting this down to the huge growth in demand that they are really unable to meet with their current production capabilities, certainly if they want to keep achieving the high quality standards that the brand has become known for. So given that Rolex is known for being pretty conservative when it comes to new watch releases, I think their R&D department works at about the speed of a glacier, and also we know that they're struggling to keep up with current demand, I think it's unlikely that we're going to see anything too radical from the brand in 2022. There was lots of speculation last year that we might be about to see a titanium Yachtmaster after the Olympic sailor Ben Ainslie was seen and photographed wearing a prototype. But I really don't think that we're going to get that this year in 2022, if ever. So what might we actually get from Rolex in 2022? Well, we could see another colour introduced for the Submariner. In September 2020, we got the new green bezel, the 126610 LV or Lunette Vert, which people have pretty quickly nicknamed the Starbucks. Now, I think we might be about to see a 126610 LB, a Lunette Bleu, a blue bezel version based on the 126619 LB, the white gold one that's already available. Now, Watchfinder recently released a video with a mock-up of a Submariner with a red bezel. It looked a little bit like the Tudor Black Bay Heritage at a glance. Now, I'm sure Watchfinder knows a lot more about Rolex than I do, but somehow I just can't see this red bezel version making it. After all, Rolex is the lead brand in the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation and that portfolio of companies, and I don't think they would want to be seen to be following in Tudor's footsteps, because comparisons would inevitably be made. But I don't know, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments. So next up, how about a GMT Master II Coke? So we've had the Pepsi, the blue and red bezel 1267 BLRO, since 2018. But for a long time now, Rolex aficionados have been calling for a black and red bezel, a homage to the original Coke, the 16710, that ran from, I think it was 1989 to 2007. It's hard to see where else Rolex could take this model line without making significant changes. I think this is a logical move. After all, it wouldn't be too challenging to execute, and it wouldn't put too much extra pressure on their production department. It's simply a case of swapping the bezel insert, and they could choose how many Pepsi or Coke dials they wanted to produce, based on popularity and demand for the new model. Now in 2020, Rolex caused a bit of a stir when it launched the new 41mm Oyster Perpetual series with 7 new dial colours, which I have to say was a pretty bold move by Rolex standards. I think we could well see a couple of new dial colours being introduced into the OP line in 2022, but that's nothing compared to what I think is my boldest prediction yet. A 124-300 Oyster Perpetual in Everrose, Rolex's rose gold. I think this actually looks killer. Rolex, if you're watching, I am available as a design consultant. So that covers my predictions for new releases. But what do I think Rolex might discontinue? Well, if anything, the rumours that have been circulating for a while about the Milgauss not being long for this world may well turn out to be true. Up until around a year ago, the Milgauss, perhaps along with the Air King, was one of the few models that you'd frequently see in Rolex AD windows, and quite a few people have said that they had been offered an Air King or a Milgauss as a way of perhaps getting on the list for one of the more popular steel sports models, like a Submariner. But that no longer seems to be the case, and I don't think it's down to a big uptick in demand for the Milgauss. You see, I think what's more likely is that with the growth in demand Rolex has seen for models like the Submariner and the GMT Master II, something has had to give, and I think it's probably much more likely that they've scaled back production of the Milgauss in 2021 to make room for production of more popular models. That, along with the fact that an anti-magnetism rating of 1000 Gauss isn't that impressive anymore. It might have been in 1956 when this model was first conceived, but now you've even got the Tudor black base ceramic that's METAS certified, with an anti-magnetism rating of up to 15,000 Gauss, as well as a handful of models from Omega. Could Rolex be about to upgrade the Milgauss to being METAS certified? Well, somehow I doubt it. Certainly it would conflict with the name, because Milgauss literally translates from the French for 1000 Gauss. So guys, I've given you my predictions for the new models I think we can expect from Rolex in 2022, but I'd love to hear from you. Give me your thoughts in the comments about whether you think any of these models might actually come into reality, or what you think we might be able to expect from the brand. And don't forget to hit the like button, because likes really help the channel to grow. And if you're not already a subscriber, smash that subscribe button now, because there's loads of great new content still to come. And if you haven't seen any of my other videos, there are two right here that you can watch next. Guys, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.